What is engagement? Webster's Dictionary. Emotional involvement or commitment. Engagement has a greater positive emotional attachment. Engagement implies that a partnership exists. What is the difference between engagement and involvement? I think it's finally starting to happen. After over 30 years of watching the workplace improvement fad pendulum swing away from practices that promote high levels of employee involvement, empowerment, or whatever you want to call it, I think we're starting to see it swing back towards those necessary practices. The new and improved term is workforce engagement, and its tenets will seem quite familiar to those of us who grew up in workplaces that aspired to be highly employee-focused. Technological advances, as much as anything, are to blame for our recent drifting away from company-wide, team-focused improvement efforts. But for some reason, it appears that we might be coming to our senses. I'm seeing the phrase workforce engagement appear more in conference brochures and promotional emails. And the current version of the Baldrige Performance Excellence Award criteria replaced the term human resources with workforce engagement as well. It's about time. We've wasted a lot of good ideas and lost the hearts of a lot of good people over the past 20 or more years because we at least gave the impression that their opinions did not matter. Maybe this time around we'll get it right. Maybe we will find ways to actually engage a high percentage of our people. I was fortunate. I was able to work for companies throughout my work career that had some form of formal team process in place. Some of these organizations chose to limit their formal team efforts to only project teams, just as many of today's Lean Six Sigma pursuing companies are doing. A couple of my past employers, however, chose to do the team thing right. They recognize that you need a mix of both project teams and effective work teams to provide the process innovations and daily continuous improvement that are necessary to achieve true levels of high performance in a rapid manner. While each of these companies tried to have teams, only one of them really did teams right. This plant both measured workforce engagement and found ways to build effective support into their daily work culture to drive those engagement levels higher and higher. The Baldrige Engagement Perspective. The term workforce engagement refers to the extent of workforce commitment, both emotional and intellectual, to accomplishing the work, mission, and vision of the organization. Key factors contributing to engagement include training and career development opportunities, effective recognition and reward systems, equal opportunity and fair treatment, family friendliness. Employee engagement involves much more than simply keeping people satisfied. Being able to sustain high levels of such satisfaction across all work groups is an indicator of effective engagement practices. But with Baldrige, we expect much more. We want to know the degree that each employee is willing to be an advocate for the organization, both in the workplace and in his or her communities. For example, at the rubber roofing company that serves as my experiential example of how to really do engagement right, we actually measured the percentage of employees who were on our formal project teams. We trended this ratio and reviewed it monthly. Most importantly, we took immediate action if this percentage fell below the 65% minimum threshold that had been established as part of our site goals. Formal improvement team involvement was just one form of engagement, however. Monthly all-hand meetings, newsletters, and committee opportunities existed as well. In order to make sure that our work systems were capable of hitting a participation percentage that many companies would consider to be quite lofty, we actually shut down each of our 3 shifts for an hour each week to allow people time to attend meetings. We also required all of our formal leaders to become proficient in the application of hard and soft team leadership skills. And we even built team meeting and training time into the standard cost for our products. We consistently followed these practices and others during each of the 5 years that I worked there, and to the best of my knowledge, they're still employing these practices today. I learned a lot of valuable lessons about what it takes from a support system perspective to truly engage a very high percentage of the workforce. And I personally witnessed the significant benefits that most of our teams provided to the plants on a year-in and year-out basis. It may surprise you to note that this all happened over 30 years ago. That is more than 20 years before Six Sigma Black Belt certifications became public and started reviving the use of formal project teams. We also weren't the only company doing this. Unfortunately, too few organizations learned from our successes and chose to adopt and sustain similar practices. Today, one might argue that employees are engaged to a lesser degree than ever before. The real answer to such a question would all depend on one's personal definition of engagement. How to measure engagement. What percentage of your workforce has email and internet access, is on a formal project or focus team, attends monthly performance update meetings, participates in annual planning efforts, is formally recognized each month? Other engagement measures include average ideas submitted per employee, absenteeism and retention percentages, survey response rates, training hours per employee, certifications earned per person, total dollars saved divided by the number of projects implemented. Employee hours invested totals can also be trended in many of these areas. What does it take to really engage an entire workforce? What measures should be used to assess the degree of workforce engagement progress you might or might not be making? One of the more common measures of employee engagement that has been used for years is the ratio of ideas submitted per year per employee. Annual satisfaction percentages, both overall and for engagement-specific questions, are also commonly used for this purpose. Other measures include the percentage of employees that are on project or focus teams, the percentage of people who have gained team skill certifications, the number of team projects implemented per year, and the number of total dollars saved through team efforts. These metrics may seem logical to you, but are they being used in your organization? Are they being trended over time? Does your management team show concern when these metrics fall below the desired levels? Have you set desired levels? How do you know if you're engaging enough people in a meaningful way? If you want to increase your workforce engagement levels, you have to measure and trend workforce engagement. In the above graphic, no two perspectives of engagement measurement are prospected. First, engagement can be measured by trending the percentage of your workforce that are involved in team activities away from their regular job. You can also look at the percentage of people that participate in performance review and planning functions and who are recognized for their process improvement contributions. The theory here is simple. As these percentages rise, performance will improve if the team experiences are value-added and properly focused, and that's a key. The team experiences need to be value-added and properly focused. Involvement percentages, training hours, and certifications earned are more of an in-process metric nature. They represent investments in your pursuit of process excellence. Absenteeism and retention rates, survey scores, and dollars saved are more of an outcome metric nature. In other words, if you engage and develop people effectively, absenteeism should go down, and retention, internal customer satisfaction, and dollars saved should rise. Other engagement measures. Leading engagement measures include average ideas submitted per employee, total dollars saved divided by number of projects implemented, survey response rates, trended survey scores, training hours per employee, and certifications earned per person. Lagging engagement measures include absenteeism and retention percentages, personal injury rates, grievance complaint severity rates and frequencies, waste levels, customer complaints, and lost revenue. Remember, for any type of metric, ratios are better than counts because they show the relationship between the system and the performance. As mentioned previously, one strategy for increasing your workforce engagement levels involves measuring and trending workforce engagement in a variety of ways. In the above two lists, you'll find examples of both leading and lagging engagement indicators. Most companies make the mistake of focusing primarily on the lagging indicators listed if they see the connection between such measures and workplace engagement levels. It's a better practice to look at both types of indicators and the correlations that may exist between these measures. Unfortunately, simply measuring engagement in a variety of ways won't increase engagement levels on its own. As we did many years ago at that roofing company, work systems that are requisite for high levels of engagement also need to be installed. For example, all formal leaders, regardless of their level in the organization, need to be skilled at managing group dynamics, facilitating teams, and applying improvement tools to improve process performance. Jobs need to be designed to allow time both for attending team meetings and, perhaps more importantly, for working on team projects in between each meeting. Certification processes need to be installed to encourage all employees to learn team and process improvement skills, and the hiring process needs to be designed to attract, identify, and most importantly, retain the type of employee who wants to work in a truly engaged and improvement-focused workplace. As these systems are installed and refined over time, you'll want to use measures such as those listed above and on the previous page to gauge the degree that these new systems are effective in driving up workforce engagement levels. For example, if you invest more hours in identifying, evaluating, and implementing good employee ideas, a variety of outcome results should be affected. If you improve your recognition system so that it touches more people in a more significant way, these changes should affect both your staff and customer satisfaction percentages over time. 2 engagement theories. As the percentage of engaged people increases, performance will increase. Total engagement does not guarantee high performance. Engagement alone will not lead you to a world where high performance is commonplace and a daily occurrence. The quality of employee engagement must be managed, and the variety of different engagement approaches need to be coordinated. While the data may not exist to clearly identify a point of diminishing returns, such a point does exist. Most organizations, however, have only begun to engage a significant number of their people. You don't have to engage a high percentage of your people to have a successful organization. I know of many companies who rarely engage their people, but they've designed very efficient processes for providing their goods and services. These companies are profitable in a sustained sense. The question is, how much more profitable could they be if they engaged a higher percentage of their people in a meaningful way? To what degree does missing out on the perspectives and ideas possessed by their people result in money being left on the table? Conversely, I've seen organizations that do a great job of engaging their people, almost to a fault. In these companies, they often spend so much time trying to make sure everyone is listened to and happy that they miss out on chances to make their processes more effective. Effectiveness is exchanged for good feeling, involvement, and ideas. They haven't found the balance point. These companies need to search for more of a happy medium, just as the highly efficient companies do. Organizations that sustain high performance over time design their work systems to drive both high levels of engagement and process excellence. A high percentage of people are engaged, but this engagement is structured and planned. Similarly, a high percentage of processes are consistently improved over time, and again, this is done in a structured and well thought out manner. What would you do? Where would you place your organization on the above matrix? Which quadrant best represents your current levels of engagement and process improvement? Which quadrant would you like to be in? What changes are needed to help you get there?